Welcome back to the Snappiness YouTube channel. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world and that you're taking great photos with whatever old quirky gear you have, or not so old quirky gear, whatever you may be shooting with. Today I wanted to talk about this lens. It is the Pentax-da limited 20-40 f2.8 to f4 lens. There, I almost got it without even practicing. So yeah, I bought this lens recently in combination with my KP, which is also a new purchase. We'll talk about that camera later on this channel. But anyway, I thought I would try this lens out because this lens has I wouldn't even say a cult following with Pentax users. It's kind of like the majority of Pentax users love this lens, and I've never understood why. Not in any critical way about this lens, but at least when I look at this lens, it's never appealed to me. It's never jumped out as a lens that I really wanted to get, but to a lot of people it is. It was released in 2013, so quite a while before the KP came out, but it was included with the KP kit. That was one of the options you can get, and now the K3 Mark III, it's included as a kit option. So clearly Pentax thinks highly of this lens as like a high-grade premium kit lens. If we look at the Pentax forums reviews for this lens, once again, just another piece of evidence. It is very highly rated, one of the highest for the DA zoom lenses, and even among the DA primes, it's right up there with how those are rated. So clearly a very well thought of lens. I've only owned this lens for a couple of weeks now, so consider this like a first impressions and not a thorough review type video. So first off, as someone who loves vintage lenses, I love that about the Pentax Limited series. This lens is beautiful aesthetically. I love the old, it kind of reminds me of the Takumar lenses, the focus ring does, or sorry, the zoom ring does. It kind of looks like the focus ring on some Takumar primes. Anyway, and the printing on it looks like the FA Limited, super pretty lens. It's a little bit large, not too large, but it is light. It feels well built, but it is light and movable, so nothing bad there. Comes with this nice little metal cap with some felt on the inside, so that feels very premium. A little screw-on small lens hood with some nice printing on it. Very premium feeling, and it should be because you're paying, now it's like $500 on sale, but when it was released it was $1,000, so not a cheap lens. So it looks and feels nice, but you can see that from pictures. Well, mostly I guess you can't see how it feels. But how does it shoot, and how's the image quality? Well, I have to say, before I started shooting with this, and even when I got it, I was still very confused how to shoot it. It was like a walk around lens, but the range is actually, 20-40 isn't a huge range. It's kind of a weird range. It's not very wide, so you can't do a lot of wide stuff. But then it's not really telephoto either. So I was having trouble shooting with it until a lot of y'all and some other people on Pentax forums said, think about it like a stack of primes. And I know you hear that a lot with other types of lenses, but with this one it really helped. When that clicked in my head, it really opened up this lens for me. Optically, I think the lens is great. And I have a little bit of clarifications with that. I actually don't think it's like super precise of a lens. So there are certain focal lengths and aperture combinations that are not super duper sharp, especially edge to edge. And that's to be expected. No lens is perfect anyway, but it didn't jump out to me as a very precision sharpness, like everything looks perfect kind of lens. But instead, and even more excitingly, it has a very unique type of rendering. So it almost combined it, like newer coatings and more modern sharpness that you'd expect from a modern lens with more vintage rendering. It really did remind me, some of the rendering and some of the pictures I got really did remind me of some more vintage lenses I've used. And that makes sense for Pentax. Pentax, that's kind of what they go after, is this kind of joy of photography and giving you an experience and giving you a unique look. And so I do think this lens fits right up in that alley. But if you're buying this lens, don't be scared about sharpness. It's not an unsharp lens. I was happy to find out that it does have a fairly close focusing distance, and that's something I really like for shooting, I don't know, flowers and plants and some of the boring things that I like to shoot. But it does have, it's like 28 centimeters, which is fairly close. It's not super close, but especially when you zoom into that 40 millimeters on APS-C, it becomes fairly close and you can get some nice detailed shots. It is also worth noting that this lens is weather resistant or weather sealed in the Pentax world. And that's super cool because none of the other limited lenses, correct me if I'm wrong, are right now at least. I think the new FA 21mm might be that they announced. But in any case, that's always a nice thing to have on a Pentax camera and makes that a good kit lens, walk around lens to pair up with your weather sealed Pentax body. Oh, and I'll show you something funny while I'm here, if I can find it. So this is my Pentax 110 20-40 lens. Totally different designs, totally different lenses. It's not like they had this laying around and then they decided to make this one. According to my knowledge, and you can educate me, and please do, but there's only one other 20-40 lens I've ever seen, and that's somebody here on the channel told me about it actually, and that's a Sigma 20-40. So there's a Sigma 20-40 lens. I think they even make it for the Pentax mount and Pentax K mount, and then they make it for other cameras. It's much cheaper on other camera mounts. In the Pentax world, it's pretty rare. Thanks for watching my short first impressions of the Pentax Limited 20-40 WR-DC. Just give up on that. Let me know if you're shooting with this lens and what you like about it. If thinking about it like a stack of primes helps, or if it's never bothered you that the zoom range is limited and you've actually found it useful. Or if you're anywhere in between, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm now selling prints. You can check the description for a link to how to buy prints and support me and this channel. Stop by the community forum to chat and hang out and have discussion with other like-minded photographers who aren't so interested in the bickering over the fanciest gear, but are just focused on the joy of photography. Follow me on Instagram to see whatever I'm shooting with right now. And remember to go out there and shoot wherever you are located with whatever camera gear or lens you have right now, even if that's an 18-55 kit lens. And until next time, happy snapping.